Hello everyone and thanks for joining us. This is Amhara Media Corporation, Amhara TV News. With the news, I am Gaila Damu. Stay tuned. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said in his speech to the Stockholm Plus 50 meeting that opened in Sweden that Ethiopia has been striving to contribute its fair share towards ensuring a healthy planet on all fronts. Brown Workana reports.
Abiy said Ethiopia has been doing its fair share towards ensuring a healthy planet on all fronts. He added, the Green Legacy Initiative is an exemplary ambitious national flagship initiative launched in 2019 aiming to plant more than 20 billion tree seedlings by 2022. Ethiopia proudly managed and already planted some 18 billion seedlings by the year 2021, the Premier pointed out, adding that this year the nation will exceed the 4-year milestone. He noted at the same time Ethiopia will surpass the set goal. It lies the foundation for generational well-being. The Prime Minister stated the initiative has already paved the way for collaboration and solidarity in the sub-region, that Ethiopia has been sharing its Green Legacy Initiative to neighboring countries in the spirit of unity. He also invited all willing partners to join Ethiopia in sustaining the Green Legacy journey for generations to come. According to Abiy, all have to be prepared to combat the rising environmental challenges being encountered on a regular basis. He stressed the necessity of working together, fostering cooperation and solidarity between state and non-state actors by rethinking the future through inclusivity, knowledge exchange and learning to achieve a healthy planet for all. The Stockholm Plus 15 meeting has taken place under the theme Stockholm Plus 50, a healthy planet for the prosperity of all, our responsibility, our opportunity.
A former European diplomat said that Egyptian and Sudanese generals are working with TPLF against the common adversary in Addis Ababa. Ababa Burhani has the details.
In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, Simo Parvenen said TPLF is now desperate and finding partners in Sudan and Egypt to launch another catastrophic war.
I suspect that the generals in Cairo, the generals in Khartoum, are working now with the TPLF against the common adversary in Addis Ababa. And that is the most kind of, they want to weaken Ethiopia like they have been doing. TPLF now is desperate and they are finding a partner in Sudan and Egypt to maybe launch something.
It is to be recalled that Ethiopia had disclosed that foreign forces fought alongside the Tigrayan fighters in the November and October 2021 battles in Amhara regions, where there is still a growing concern about how Egypt and Sudan have been supporting armed groups, particularly the terrorist TPLF. Various foreign conflict observers and journalists, as well as the Ethiopian government, have been warning these days that terrorist TPLF is mobilizing a massive number of fighters to areas adjacent to the Amhara and Afar regions to wage another devastating war. The international affairs expert and seasoned Finnish diplomat Parvenen disclosed that TPLF is not only recruiting fighters in Tigray to start another round of war, but working with Egyptian and Sudanese generals to create instability. According to him, the major reason for the alliance of anti-Ethiopian forces from Cairo and Khartoum with the terrorist TPLF is the issue of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which will be a pressing issue over the coming months.
What Cairo and Khartoum are doing now, they are using TPLF. Gerd is already built, it's operational, it will not go anywhere. But because of this geopolitics, USA and some Western countries, not all, they are biased towards Egypt. So there is the wider geopolitical question that what Sudan and Egypt and maybe the Gulf Arabs will do influence in Horn of Africa, because they really don't have the kind of interest of people in Horn mind. They have their own interest, but GERD is now a big success. So what Egypt is going to do next? Because clearly they are still paranoid and unhappy. So I think Ethiopia has to remain vigilant.
According to him, Sudan is the traditional army's route for TPLF, and the terrorist group is dreaming of the Wolkait Tegede area.
Then we come to the question of Wolkait Tegede and the strategic corridor that the TPLF is dreaming of having to Sudan, because then they could continue their struggle maybe forever. That's the kind of, so it is very strategic piece of land, this Wolkait Tegede, and also there we have to be cognizant that the words matter. It is not Western Tigray. It was forcibly obtained by TPLF. There was years and decades of silence, and now the truth is start to come out.
Speaking about the terrorist TPLF leaders who cannot inherently survive without conflict, Parvenin pointed out that there have been amazing trucks and materials obtained from humanitarian agencies in Tigray to start another war. He further stressed that the terrorist group remains agent for foreign enemies to undermine the unity and territorial integrity of Ethiopia. He noted that there are clear indications at the moment that propaganda operations through international media outlets are getting stronger to defame Ethiopia. Whatever the conspiracies being orchestrated by enemies, Parvenin is confident that the country has a potential to foil any form of threat against its sovereignty, and Ethiopia will absolutely prevail even if the situation is a serious issue. He finally stated that since Ethiopia has been still the most important country for the Western countries and for their geopolitical interest, they have to readjust their policy and approach towards the country. Another observer of the northern Ethiopian conflict, Alastair Thompson, also told Ethiopian news agency recently that the terrorist TPLF is trying to create a 1 million-person army and recruit again from the enormously depleted Tigray population to wage war. Moreover, the terrorist group, for its terror agenda, has been snatching relief supplies from victims in Tigray and hijacking thousands of humanitarian aid trucks to support its fighters and military logistics.
According to Foreign Affairs Ministry, the Organization of Educational Cooperation has revealed intention to set up the seat of its headquarters in Addis Ababa. Ramet Adam tells us more.
Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Demeke Mekonnen had a meeting with Secretary General of the Organization of Educational Cooperation, Sheikh Mansour bin Musalam. The Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister said the government of Ethiopia identified education as one of the priority areas and annually allocates a considerable amount of its GDP to improve the education sector. He added in its commitment to improve the quality of education in Ethiopia, the government is keen on working closely with educational organizations that operate internationally, including Organization of Educational Cooperation. Sheikh Mansour bin Musalam said on his part, Organization of Educational Cooperation works closely with relevant bodies to improve quality and ensure inclusivity of education and make knowledge the driving force for social development. He further called on the Ethiopian government to scale up its role in the organization by allowing moves to set up the seat of the headquarters in Addis Ababa. He said Addis Ababa is the seat of various diplomatic centers and international organizations, making it ideal to make it the seat of Organization of Educational Cooperation too. The Organization of Educational Cooperation was founded in 2020, and the Organization of Educational Cooperation aims to engage systematically with the human, local, national and planetary dimensions of education.
French Development Agency Africa Director Christian Yoka said France will continue supporting the ongoing economic reforms and other development priorities of Ethiopia in the years to come. Bukardi Zodu has the details.
In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, the director said France has been a long-term partner of Ethiopia, which is celebrating 125 years of relationship between the two countries.
As far as AFD is concerned, we've been active here for now almost 25 years now in Ethiopia. And at the beginning, we were focused on very few sectors, especially in the infrastructure sector. It was urban development, water and energy mainly. But recently, our portfolio has been completely diversified. We are now involved into financing heritage program, especially, as maybe you may know, we are working on the restoration and preservation of Ladibela churches. We are working on the renovation of the National Palace, which is a very, very exciting project.
The director further revealed that the French Development Agency will also move towards government programs.
We are supporting the economic reforms implemented by the government with that respect, and as well as supporting the civil society. So in the whole, we are now involved into a large spectrum of sectors. Our portfolio now amounts to around 800 million euros that has been committed in Ethiopia for those years I mentioned. And we are very proud and very happy to be involved into the development of this country.
Regarding to the next major priorities, Yoka said they had discussed with officials from Ministry of Finance on priorities as they are seen by the government of Ethiopia.
When we met the Ministry of Finance, we had a discussion precisely on those priorities as they are seen and put forward by the government of Ethiopia. One of the main concerns of the government of Ethiopia is job creation. So that's involved going to the end of the economical reforms that are being put in place. That's essential, and having a more thriving private sector. That's one. The second emergency is agriculture and food security concern that should be addressed. And that's also another priority put forward by the government.
Stating that one of the main concerns of the government of Ethiopia is job creation, he stressed that the economic reform by the government is essential to realize such ambition. For Yoga, Ethiopia is experiencing dynamic urbanization process, so making sure that cities are experiencing balanced development is key, and it is another area that is considered as a priority for the government.
So we were going to work on different sectors for the coming years. Agriculture and food security, biodiversity will be one. We will keep on supporting the urban development sector. You know that AFD has been heavily involved into the energy sector. I think this is really key for the country, and we will remain at the disposal, at the government disposal to really keep on working on that. And again, I will stress the heritage project we are involved in will continue in the future.
It is to be recalled that the leaders of the two countries paid official visits in 2018 and 2019 respectively. The visits have considerably strengthened the bilateral relationships, and three key fields were identified, which are economic, military and cultural cooperation.
A foreign journalist and observer of northern Ethiopia conflict said that given the previous experiences of TPLF in aid diversion and taking its advantage of humanitarian operation for the purpose of military conflicts, it is entirely reasonable for both the government of Ethiopia and any other observers to consider the distinct possibility that this is happening again. Ramet Adam has the story.
It is to be recalled that the international community, including UN agencies, have been delivering humanitarian aid to Tigray since the past several months. However, the government of Ethiopia and other observers have been expressing concerns as to whether the aid is distributed appropriately and reaches the people in the region. Scoop Independent News Editor-in-Chief Alastair Thompson told to INA that the concerns are right, recalling the 1985 famine in Ethiopia when TPLF diverted 95% of the $100 million aid raised to fight famine in northern Ethiopia and spent it on weapons.
The issues of what's happening inside Tigray, we have very little data on that. But Professor Anne Fitzgerald published this paper in April, where she interviewed IDPs who had left Tigray and then fled into Wag Hemra and into Sokoto. And I'll just read this passage in her report about what she was told by the IDPs about what was happening inside Tigray. That report was published, I think, shortly before I arrived. And since I've been here, I've sought to engage with the World Food Programme to ask them questions about this and other matters related to the convoy, including missing trucks, some of which they now say have been released. Some trucks that had been there since July they've just recently explained that some 100 of those have been returned. But I mean, the issues raised here are much more serious.
Thompson also mentioned the recent reports of looting on the warehouses of USAID, UNICEF and others in Amhara region of Ethiopia. He cited the recent research conducted by Professor Anne Fitzgerald by interviewing IDPs who fled from Tigray, revealing the fact that TPLF is using humanitarian aid for its political agenda and military purpose.
Given the previous experience of TPLF activities in this area of aid diversion and basically taking advantage of humanitarian operations for the purposes of their military conflict, I think it's entirely reasonable for both the government of Ethiopia and any reasonable observer to consider that there's a distinct possibility that this is happening again.
He further pointed out that the main issue related to humanitarian supply to Tigray is the lack of transparency and clarity about what is happening, what has happened and why the deliveries are needed, and became such a politicized issue. According to him, silence by the UN is a way of supporting misinformation. The UN seems to interpret its principle of neutrality and impartiality to mean that it cannot comment on things like this. Thompson said the integrity of the UN is being questioned, adding that the UN should try to address these questions.
The United Nations seems to interpret its principles of neutrality and impartiality to mean that it can't comment on things like this, but silence is also a way of basically supporting misinformation. I mean, if you have Dr. Tedros who's saying that there's a siege and not acknowledging that the TPLF are destroying hospitals within Afar Zone Region 2, at the same time as WFP is not saying anything about the reasons why they're not delivering aid, then people naturally can come to wrong conclusions. I mean, the silence actually facilitates the misinformation.
The editor-in-chief stated that the humanitarian operation in Tigray has been mismanaged from the beginning of the war, as there was a clear misunderstanding among the senior UN and US officials. He concluded that the UN should look into the international humanitarian operation being carried out in Tigray region of Ethiopia in order to address the concerns about the proper delivery of aid to the people in the region.
I think in the current circumstances, some form of inquiry should actually be held by the United Nations into the operations of OSHA and the WFP from the beginning of this conflict, because there are also questions raised about what happened in the first few months of the conflict when it came to humanitarian operations. For the Tigray conflict being run out of Geneva and not out of Ethiopia. And I think there's questions that need to be asked about that.
Ethiopian Maritime Training Institute has graduated the 19th round marine engineers. On the occasion, it is disclosed that Ethiopia gets a monthly income of above $250,000 from the marine professionals it enrolled in different countries across the world. Abebe Brhani tells us more.
The Ethiopian Maritime Training Institute is the only maritime academy in East Africa, and it was established in 2011. Since its establishment, the academy has been producing lots of cadets who have been involving in global blue economy markets. Before this time, the academy has graduated 1,870 marine professionals with 18 rounds. In its 19th round graduation ceremony, the academy has graduated 69 well-equipped cadets who have trained for about the past 9 months. Until now, the academy has graduated a total of 1,939 cadets in 19 rounds. Speaking and opening the program, Commandant of the Ethiopian Maritime Academy, Captain Charles Cotes, extended a congratulatory message to the students. The captain explained that the cadets in their stay in the academy have been granted a unique opportunity that would enable them to be competent in the world stage.
We've been granted a unique opportunity to compete on the world stage against those of many other countries pursuing the same similar dream. And you're not only representing yourself, but also Ethiopia and this academy.
Congratulating the graduating cadets, Administration Affairs Vice President Brhanu Degfe said on the occasion that the cadets have got world-class theoretical and practical training that would enable them to join the global market.
You have got a world-class theoretical and practical trainings which will enable you to join the international market. We are proud that we have ambassadors to Ethiopia and to Bahar Dar University everywhere in the world, and we are proud of this program since the beginning.
They are ambassadors of the country. When they go on ship, they are working in different multinationals. So in that case, they are representing their country. Now, as of now, we are getting very good feedback from the employers, the companies. These Ethiopians are technically efficient, they are disciplined, they are ethical. So this and other feedbacks, because of this training, they made them, the internationally competent.
Representing the graduating cadets, Samuel Chali said on the occasion that the training they have obtained in the academy made them confident and equipped them to be hard worker and competent on the global stage.
Your training here has given us all the confidence we needed to lead and follow. We learned from you your hands-on experience, your can-do attitude, your superior work ethics, and to perform well in times of crisis. That is why we are not afraid to be competent on global stage and to fill our seniors' shoes.
One of the graduating cadets, Iyuel Alemayo, on his part said that in their stay in the academy, they have received electromechanical knowledge and skills that would enable them to be successful in their work environment.
During our 9 months stay in the academy, we've been taught basically 2 kind of courses. The first is a mechanical or marine engineering courses, and also the electrical courses. So we can say that we learned about electromechanical things. So in the mechanical parts, as we know in the ship, there are many kinds of machineries, starting from the main engine that keeps the ship going, and also there are many generators, many small machineries, and we've been taught about all that machineries by our chief engineers. I mean, our instructors are chief engineers that are from around the world, so they are well equipped and we're certified to teach us, and they've been giving us their experience and knowledge very much.
Iyuel added that their 9 months stay in the academy also has made them very disciplined person.
We graduates are very disciplined after staying 9 months in here, and it's really it was really advantageous for us to be here, to be self-disciplined person.
Iyuel also stated that as they are an ambassador to Ethiopia, they are ready to represent their country and promote its good image.
We are ambassadors of Ethiopia because, like, when we work hard and when we show them a good experience, when we show them a good work ethics there in the workplace, so we are also representing our Ethiopia, and their image for the Ethiopia will be good. So we are ready like to represent our country and to create a good image of our country.
Academic Administration and Human Resource Manager Dalalam Teferi on his part said that maritime is an untapped sector that should be exploited. He added that the country receives on average $200,000 per day from the maritime market.
If you see it globally, the countries generating on average $200,000 per day because of this seafarers. We call them seafarers. So this is supporting the national economy at large. So it's a big advantage working with MTI. It's a big advantage and the first choice of their future career.
This is Amhara Media Corporation, Amhara TV News, and now let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate. That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and have a wonderful time. The news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching and stay safe and have a wonderful time.